BookTube for the third tag of Quadruple Tag Tuesday. I'm going to be doing the self-aware reader tag. It was created by Courtney Furter, and I've seen it before on Sean the Bookmaniac's channel, Steve Donahue's channel, Skelly Dangling About the Books, Bookish, Alan Bresswell, and pretty much every other booktuber. I think we've all done this tag. So I'm just going to leave a link to Courtney Furter's original video, because there's like so many other booktubers I've seen do this, so I'll just go with hers. Anyway, let's get down to the questions. Question number 1. What most draws you into a novel or story and makes you want to keep reading? Plot, characters, writing style, atmosphere, or something else? I think it's a combination of writing style, characters, and plot that I'm really very interested in. A story has to be really well written, or sometimes not, but I think definitely I do. I mean, my favorite genre is science fiction and fantasy, and while the quality of the writing is not necessarily absolute, I do really like a well-written story. Also really like compelling characters and well-done characters. And also the plot has to be really good and really interesting and drawing in. So a combination of the three, a balance of the three. Number 2, what is a convention or trope that will immediately turn you off in your reading experience with a novel or story? Bury Your Gaze, a book in which there are a small number of gay characters and they are murdered throughout the story or killed in some way throughout the story. That really does annoy me enough usually to bail from or to not really be as interested. That's what happened with Tigana by Guy Gabriel Kay. So I think definitely Bury Your Gaze. I'm also not terribly fond of the hyper-competent sidekick, because usually when there's a hyper-competent sidekick, I'm like, why the hell are you not the protagonist? I mean, it's... Anyway. Number 3. What most appeals to you when reading nonfiction and makes you want to keep reading? Usually writing style. I really like the writing style if it's a subject I'm interested in, or if the writer has the skills to really make a subject interesting. Number 4. What is a convention or trope in nonfiction that will turn you off in your reading experience? Usually I think if they become more pedantic or more academic in a way. I mean, there are some academic texts that I like. Enzo Traverso's Fire and Blood I quite liked. The Witch by Ronald Hutton I thought was really good, even though both are very, very academic. But I think if the writing style is too dry, but also I think if a book veers too much into pseudo-history or pseudo-science or sort of the woo-woo, or like the sort of the wishy-washy, sort of uncertain kind of stuff, Hopefully that made some sense. Number 5. Would you say you read more for pleasure and enjoyment or more to learn and exercise your brain? Pleasure and enjoyment, although, why is it either or? Why can it be both? I mean, I read for pleasure and to learn. I mean, it's not an absolute either or. Come on, people. Number 6. Which type of books are you likely to rate more highly and enjoy more overall? Brain candy, pleasure enjoyment books, or brain protein, learning exercise books? I don't think I quite understand the difference. Anyway, I think probably brain candy. But again, I mean, that's like an either or that really shouldn't exist. It's both. I mean, that kind of plays into sort of the, like, there should be no fiction. It's, anyway. Number 7. Do you have a sense early on of whether or not the book you're reading will be a 5-star read or a book you will really like? Has a book ever surprised you in this regard? So, I can usually tell rather quickly if I will hate a book. Like I said in the anti-TBR tag, I knew within a few paragraphs that I was going to hate The Handmaid's Tale. Now, usually I have a little bit harder time with a 5-star. I mean, usually it takes me a little bit of time. The first few chapters, really sometimes like the first hour's reading or 2 hours reading is really dicey. It's really sort of, am I going to like this book or am I not? But usually I will, so if I kind of get into a groove of it, if I start to enjoy it, then I will usually rate it quite highly. But I don't really like a rating system, whether 5 stars, 10 stars, however you decide to do that. Because it's, yeah. I mean, that kind of calls for a consistency that I perhaps haven't quite found my own version of, if that makes any sense. Number 8. Considering books that you've rated 5 stars in the past, or if you don't rate them, then books you really loved, do you think you would feel the same way about them now? Why or why not? I am a mercurial reader, in the sense that I do change my opinions on books quite frequently. I mean, I think particularly as I reread, I do become more critical. So, say for example, Mysterious Skin by Scott Heim. I read it when I was a senior in high school, and I quite loved it. It was very foundational and formational for me. I reread it again earlier this year, and I noticed the writing is not that great. It's okay. I mean, it's certainly a debut novel level quality, but like that sort of first time reader feel isn't there. Now, I think I'm going to have another go at it maybe next year or the year after, and like kind of balance the sort of the early iteration of it and a more recent critical appraisal of it. But I mean, that happens sometimes. see, is there any other examples? But then there are books that I can read over and over that I really enjoy. Agatha Christie. I've often found if I'm in a reading slump, just read like Death on the Nile or any of the Miss Marples, and they will, yeah, I will love them. So, and finally for number 9, I think everybody's done this tag, so if you actually haven't done this tag yet, you are tagged. Definitely do this tag if you have a booktube channel. Or I guess you can enter it down in the comments down below, but if you have a channel, yeah, do this tag. Anyway, so that was the self-aware reader tag. I'm going to sign off now and go do the final tag for this Quadruple Tag Tuesday. So until then, thank you, BookTube, and stay safe.